Howdy, this is Mackenzie Franklin from SideGame LLC here in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Welcome to another Marvel Champions reveal. These are going to be my first impressions and my first look through for the brand new hero pack for Marvel Champions. This is Deadpool. Now, this is one that we have seen in some of the preview images, knew that it was coming, but I have a bunch of hype around this. In particular, I received a phone call from my brother yesterday saying, hey, you have to check this out right now, but I cut him off before he could tell me why he was so excited. So I'm looking forward to this one just because of that sheer excitement factor. Let's take a look at it. I'll talk about my most anticipated card at the end, the most anticipated neutral from the encounter set, as well as the aspect card, and then in general what I think about the set, and we'll go by each card by card and see what I think this is going to bring to the game and things that I'm most excited for. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, please make sure that you do. It is the best way to help us grow. And for those of you already subscribed, thank you so much for the continuous support. Let's go ahead and look at the brand new hero pack for Marvel Champions, Deadpool. So first off, let's go up to the Fantasy Flight article. And if you'd like to, you can definitely follow along. There's a link in the description so you can see these cards as well. And the way that I like to do this is I like to go into the individual cards and then just go one by one. I won't be reading the entire article from here unless there's maybe something that we need to clarify. And looking at it right off the bat, you can see that there is a bit of a price increase here. So I'm a little curious to see if that's going to mean that we get more content in this pack, because it looks like it's about a couple more dollars than a normal pack. So let's take a look. Ooh, already I love the background here. You've got pink cards as well as, oh, no way. The Merc with the Mount. Does that mean that it's a different aspect? Okay. Okay, let's take a look here. So let's jump into the cards to start off. So we have Wade Wilson with a ridiculous recovery stat of 8. This is kind of hilarious because his maximum health is 9. It reminds me of the Unmatched character a little bit, where he has a giant healing factor, but just not enough health to make it count. So you'll want to slap a symbiote suit on this guy or something to take advantage of that giant recovery stat, because that's kind of amazing, actually. Well, hello, handsome. Wade Wilson, mercenary and mutant with a star. Sometimes I'm a mutant, sometimes I'm not. Depends on who you ask. So I think that's good enough for the in-game text. Break the fourth wall as an action. Discard a card from your hand. Search your deck for a Deadpool event and add it to your hand. Limit once per round. This is actually an amazing effect. You get exactly what you need for the situation. I imagine, and this doesn't necessarily say a alter ego or a hero event, so you can tailor it to whatever you need in the specific aspect. This card is a super good effect. Awesome. Okay, hand size 6, hit points 9. Next up, we have Exhausting Personality. We still don't know what Deadpool does. Zero cost event. As a hero action, you can choose. Put an acceleration token on the main scheme. Stun and confuse the villain. Wow, that's a big trade-off. Whew. Or exhaust a player's identity. That player draws a card for each acceleration token on the main scheme. That's actually pretty exciting. So you can push the game super dangerous, but then get a huge amount of value on this. I want to know how many exhausting personalities there are here, because that sounds incredible if you could do like several and just chain them. And then this is a card that you can search, so you can make sure that it happens. So when you do flip into alter ego, you can set up for these gigantic turns with exhausting personality. This is a cool card. I like it. Maybe he'll be interacting with these a lot. Next, we have Montage, a resource card for Deadpool. Resource, this card generates 1 additional resource for each acceleration token on the main scheme to a maximum of 3 additional resources. Okay, I like where this is going. This is also great with that alter ego effect of hand fixing, so this gives you a lot of reason to ramp up the end game as fast as possible. I like that. And then Cable, 3-cost ally. Nathan Summers, 1 thwart, 2 attack, 3 health. Psionic X-Force provides a wild resource. Cable gets +1 thwart and +1 attack for each acceleration token on the main scheme to a max of +3 thwart, +3 attack. So he can be swinging for 5 attack and 4 thwart. Wade, you are my best bud. This is super powerful. I enjoy this theming a lot of pushing the game as much as you can. And this ally is super strong. Yeah, can't say anything else about that. Seems pretty powerful. X-Force and Psionic, so good tags there. Next is a 1-cost upgrade. It ain't over. Condition. It's got a lightning resource attached to the main scheme. Increase the target's threat value of attached scheme by 2 for each acceleration token on it. So this reminds me of the Justice card. It's a 2-cost where you attach it and it increases that threshold by 4. And I think that's a pretty powerful card in solo mode in particular, because it allows you to prevent yourself from getting just rolled over with like a single advance, because sometimes there are scenarios where that can definitely happen. So seeing that there's an additional one here that you can add in addition to that is pretty cool. And it looks like it doesn't have a maximum amount that you can have. So I don't know how many of these are in the deck, but I think this card is pretty great, particularly since you'll be putting yourself into those dangerous positions. This gives you a little bit of buffer room if you need the time, allowing you to actually deal with the problems that you're creating. I like this card. I think it's cheap, which is excellent, and it's going to be one that you can search on the very first turn with that. Oh, no, you can't. It's an upgrade, not an event, but still a good card. I think this is good. Next up is Maximum Effort, zero cost event. And you got that same artwork from the Captain America style. It's an attack event. Hero action attack. Take any amount of damage up to your remaining hit points. Deal an equal amount of damage to an enemy. I like this card a lot as well. This is just straight up using health as a resource, taking advantage of your gigantic recovery stat, and it is searchable. It is an event. It's an attack event, so you can search it with like I've got a plan. You can use all sorts of things to increase the value of this. This is pretty powerful. I like this. Maximum effort, zero cost. Any card that's zero cost is usually pretty good. And then one cost event, Yoo-Hoo, thwart, hero action, thwart, take any amount of damage up to your hit points. Oh my gosh, it's the same thing, but for defense. Oh, wow. Yeah, I can see you doing some crazy things with like symbiote suit and just getting your health up ridiculously and just taking out the villain in like 2 shots with some of these cards. So this one is obviously for thwart, the other one's for attack. I think the one for attack is going to be a huge finisher, but this card is also super strong if you need to get rid of something in a pinch. I can see it being extremely flexible, which is awesome. So getting exactly the perfect amount of damage that you need. Let's see what sort of healing cards are in this package. This card is Fire, 3 cost event. It's an attack, force response after your turn ends. If this card is in your hand, take a damage. Interesting. Hero action, deal X damage after your turn ends with this card in your hand. So that means that you can I have to look at the little reference. Do you discard your cards at the end of your turn when you draw? Will you take it if you don't play it? So I need to look up the rules really quick because I want to know the timing on that, because normally it's just like a fluid thing. Force response. After your turn ends, if this card is in your hand, take a damage. And if you know this, let me know that in the comments. Hero action. Attack. Deal X damage to an enemy. X is the amount of damage you have sustained. So you just wombo combo with this with your other one. Zero cost. You can potentially do just without any additional health buffs, 14 damage for 5. Yeah, 5 cards. 4 cards? 5 cards. 5 cards for 14 damage with this one, and then the zero cost one. That's pretty powerful. I think you can definitely murder some people with that. And once again, with the symbiote suit, this is going to be one where you're just excited to take on as much as possible. Next, we have card number 10, 2 cost upgrade, Armed to the Teeth. Response. After you play Armed to the Teeth, search your collection for 1 weapon upgrade from any aspect. Search your collection. Ooh, so you can give yourself a little side deck, so you can get any weapon upgrade from any aspect and attach it face down here. Action, exhaust Armed to the Teeth. Swap the card attached here with a weapon upgrade you control. That's pretty cool. I like stuff like this where you sort of breaks the standard deck building rules. It allows you to jump into different aspects, play multicolor, which is so interesting. It is a little expensive, but the fact that you just swap them, I don't know what that means in the case of like getting upgrades and weapons and the counters on them, because if you are using this to exhaust Armed to the Teeth, swap the card here with a weapon upgrade you control. So does that mean that whatever weapon that you use, does it keep all of the tokens? Does it move underneath this? And then when you use the new one comes out, does it come out fully fresh? Can you just keep on swapping the 2 cards to just have always a weapon that's fully maxed out? I imagine that's probably not the case, but just the fact that you can dip into multiple aspects is cool. Maybe that's what we get in this pack, are multiple aspect cards that are from 4 weapons, just so that we have more options for Deadpool, which means that we also get more options for like Rocket Raccoon, which is super exciting. And for War Machine, I like this card a lot. This is 2 cost upgrade, Armed to the Teeth. Next up is a weapon. 2 cost upgrade, Deadpool's Katana. It is restricted, punch resource. Hero action, attack, exhaust Deadpool's Katana and take 1 damage, deal 2 damage to an enemy. This attack gains piercing. So another health as a resource. This is going to let you get around your tough statuses, and that way you can use those heavy finishers. It's a good card. I think it's fine. I think it might be a little expensive, but it is a recurable 2. It is 2 costs for a recurable 2 damage. So I think this could be fine, particularly because you're probably wanting to take damage to trigger your other stuff. And then we have a 3 cost ally. Deadpool Corpse. So this is is this a pool aspect set? I might have to look at the article to see what this is. Let's just look at it face value though. 3 cost ally, 0 thwart, 1 attack with no consequential damage, mind you. Dogpool Wilson, 4 health, Deadpool Corpse, Retaliate 1, toughness. When defeated, deal damage to an enemy. So this card is pretty fantastic. Lots of health for 3 cost with toughness. You're going to get a free attack every single time, flexible for which you can use it. It does have an acceleration icon. Let's quickly look at the other cards and see, does that trigger these others? It says for each acceleration token. So this does not count as the acceleration token, so it won't give any bonuses or buffs or anything like that. So let's look at what this pink one means. Since Deadpool doesn't need to worry about being defeated, much of his kit lets him be reckless or strategic. Okay, let's talk about the pool aspect now. We mentioned earlier, but the Deadpool Hero Pack actually introduces a 5th aspect to Marvel Champions. That's hilarious because they were talking about like there was a purple aspect in development. I forget what it was. Like it had something to do with like vigilance or something like that. But it looks like we actually have a brand new aspect here. This is kind of awesome. Healing factor, 3 cost upgrade. Superpower, max 1 per player. After the player phase begins, exhaust healing factor, heal 2 damage from your identity. After the player phase begins, exhaust healing factor. That card's super good. 3 cost upgrade, healing factor. I enjoy this a lot. Look at the doggo. Themed around the Deadpool corpse, this aspect is all about high risk, high reward gameplay. Pool allies like Dogpool and Headpool, we'll talk about that in a second, don't take consequential damage to the attacker thwart. They also come in with acceleration or amplify icons, but that's okay because other pool cards get bonuses while those icons are in place, so it works out just fine. Not every pool card has you living dangerously, though. Some of them are improved versions of existing cards, such as Cutupper, Get Ragey, and Not My Responsibility. With the pool aspect, you can even copy certain other heroes' healing factor, because why not? And if you aren't able to use the pool aspect to secure victory in your first attempt, well, you just gotta get good. Lots more pool cards in this pack, including a whole bunch of extra cards outside Deadpool's pre-built deck, giving you loads of customization options to try out. And of course, you can always build a Deadpool deck with one of the other 4 aspects. But why would you ever want to do that? This is amazing. So this just gives you brand new flexibility for every single hero. This is awesome. I am thrilled. This is so cool. How many do we get? The pack is more expensive, so that makes sense. There's probably more cards in here. Do we have enough? Obviously, it's not going to be as fully fleshed out as things that have been built on and support for like the couple of years that this game has been out. But this is awesome. Just giving you, it feels like almost an expert mode. I wouldn't say expert mode because these cards do seem very powerful, but you'll have to definitely build around this. But it's going to be hard to build around this because you are limited to whatever is in this card pool. So I guess it's finding which of the heroes are going to work well with this specific aspect. I like this concept, though. It's just a delving into something that some of your heroes may be able to take advantage of. So I like this concept. I think it's super fun. And I don't know if we would ever get more of this pool aspect. And I don't know what they would do if they were going to. What other characters are in the Deadpool universe that would bring in more pool cards? With that being said, let's look at the rest of the pool cards that they have for display. Next is Headpool. Wade Shorty Wilson. This is kind of a grotesque image. 3 cost ally, 2 thwart, 1 attack, and it's got 1 health. Deadpool corpse zombie. Once again, no consequential damage, which is kind of awesome. Response: after Headpool attacks and damages a minion, that minion attacks another enemy of your choice. This is pretty awesome. This reminds me of like what Moondragon wanted to be, which is super sad. And I don't think that this icon is as that's not true. It depends who you're fighting. This boost icon, it gives the +1 whenever enemies or villains with villainous, they attack and then they get boost cards that gets +1 to each. So it can be pretty gross in some scenarios, but I think that it's a little bit more forgiving than the acceleration icons because you just know it's going to happen. And it's not going to push you into like unwinnable situations with the threat. So this is, I think, pretty great. This is sort of what we wanted Moondragon to be. This one's actually playable, which is awesome. Next up, we have Barely a Scratch. 0 cost event. Defends hero interrupt. When you would take any amount of damage from an attack, prevent 1 for each icon. So enemy icon like hazard, crisis, acceleration in play. 0 cost event is pretty great, and you can probably get this up pretty severely. This makes me want to try this deck out with Kitty Pryde because you're able to dodge all of the extra damage and whatnot with Kitty Pryde's effect. And then this card is going to give you the auto defense. I'm thinking this in tandem with the healing factor seems pretty strong. Next is 1 cost event. I got this. Hero action. If the following icons are on 1 or more cards in play, deal 3 damage to an enemy. If it's a crisis icon, acceleration, remove 2 threat from a scheme, boost icon, ready an ally you control, and hazard icon, draw a card. So if the following icons are on 1 or more cards in play, so this scales based on the number of icons that are in play, and they have to be on cards specifically, so the tokens don't count. So this means that you want to, super play all of your busted cards because this effect is pretty powerful. For a 1 cost, it reminds me a little bit of Wakanda Forever, where you're just getting so much value with 1 card, but you've got to put the effort in to actually make it happen. But in this case, the cards that you're putting the effort into playing are actually super good and have super high value. So this one you could deal 3 damage, 2 threat, ready an ally, draw a card. And since your allies don't take damage from consequential damage, that makes it even stronger. This card is super powerful. I like this one, and it's sort of a customizable, build your own super strong card. Next is Live Dangerously. Nice, coming with the player side scheme. Victory 0. Each identity gets +2 hand size, and it's got all the symbols. This is so good. I actually like this card a lot. It's interesting, though, because you can't have it out forever because it will eventually kill you because of the acceleration icon, because of the hazard icon. But seeing as it's free to play, you play this, play your other busted cards, get advantage of them, and then defeat it when you need to. I also like that it scales up based on the player size. So since it is helping everybody out with the extra hand size, this is pretty cool. I like this card quite a bit. I think it fits right in with the entire thing that the pool archetype is trying to do, and it's going to be definitely a double auto included in your decks. Next up is Cutupper. It's a redone version of the aggression card, Uppercut. 3 cost event, attack, hero attack, deal 5 damage to an enemy, stun that enemy, max 1 per deck. Okay, this card is super good. You're going to play this probably. It's like the protection card, just better. It just does the thing. You don't need to meet any specific conditions. Okay, nice. Good card. Solid. And then we have Get Ragey, another max 1 per deck. Okay. I like Get Ready. I think it's one of my favorite cards in leadership, just letting you use all of these big allies that you paid so much for and not having to pay anything additional except for the card. Action Ready an ally. That ally gets +1 attack until the end of the phase. You call that a pull-up Sergeant Deadpool, max 1 per deck. This is just better. You can use this first and then do whatever readying abilities that you may have. I don't know if you'll have to tell me. Nothing comes to mind outside of leadership that has any readying effects. I guess the Deadpool one we just saw, where you can unexhaust with the pink card as part of the having all those specific icons. So I guess there is synergy within the pool set, so that works well. This card is hilarious, though. I love the picture. I love the arts. I like that he's just sort of on the wall. And I like that it's Bob, Agent of Hydra, instead of our shield officers. Next up, Not My Responsibility, 0 cost event. This is a brain icon, another max 1 per deck. Interrupt. So it doesn't have to be hero interrupt, which is pretty sick. When any amount of threat would be placed on a scheme, you or your ally takes its damage instead. This is super powerful. So it's seen as you have allies that have toughness, you can abuse that. You can use, because it's not indirect damage, it's just take the damage. When amount of threat to be placed on a scheme, you or an ally takes it as damage instead. This card is awesome, especially because you can use an alter ego, so you can safely flip over. You can use that recovery stat as Deadpool. I think there's a lot of characters that are going to take advantage of this, particularly with the high defense stats. I can see this being excellent in Colossus. I can see this being good in any character that has a high health pool. I can see it being good in Wolverine and Spider-Ham. This card is awesome. So this is Not My Responsibility. Next up is a 3 cost upgrade. We talked about this already. Is a healing factor. I think this card's awesome. You don't want to get this out ASAP because then it just gives you a secondary passive healing effect. Super powerful. So yes, 3 cost upgrade, max 1 per player, superpower. After the player phase begins, exhaust it, heal 2 damage from your identity. Incredible. 2 cost upgrade, Get Good. Brain resource, reduce the cost to play it by 2 if you didn't win your previous game of Marvel Champions. This is kind of funny that this is the only card that actually has a 4th wall breaking effect out of everything that we've seen in all of the Deadpool cards. That must have taken some real restraint from the design team, because it feels like right now the wackiness that I was sort of expecting from the Deadpool set was actually shown in the Spider-Ham set. So I feel like there's a lot of restraint here and just a lot of more creativity in the cards, which I appreciate. So this is cool already. 2 cost upgrade, Get Good. Reduce the cost of it if you lost your last game. Forced Interrupt. When a player would be defeated, they set their hit point dial to 1 and change alter ego form instead. Remove this card from the game. Particularly great in Deadpool because his recovery stat is basically his entire remaining health. So this is actually a cool card. It doesn't cost anything ridiculous. There's most of these cards cost about 3 resources to play. I'm thinking like Jean Grey has one of these. Wolverine has one, I think. And then Star-Lord has one that just prevents them from dying. This one seems the most cheap, and if you really didn't do well, you can not include this, and then if you lost your last one, you can throw this in your deck, and then it just becomes even better, which is, I don't know how I feel about that, but that's fine. I think it's a funny way to do it. It gives you a little bit of a bonus for the next game, making the gameplay probably a little bit easier. Next is Ahhhh, the Deadpool encounters set. And I don't know if this is not the Nemesis set. Let's look at this one more time. Crisis of Infinite Deadpools. As ridiculous as it may seem, the pool aspect really gets its game is the game's fifth aspect. That means any hero can make use of it, including those who use cards from multiple aspects. However, there's a catch. When you play a game of Marvel Champions, if at least one player is using the pool aspect, then a copy of Crisis of Infinite Deadpools is shuffled into the encounter deck during setup. So it looks like this is in addition to your regular encounter set. So this is just an extra one that gets thrown in. So let's see if this is going to be something ridiculous. Maybe it just has way too many of those icons. Let's see what's going on. Crisis of Infinite Deadpools. Treachery card. When revealed, reveal a set-aside Dreadpool minion and Dreadful Deeds side scheme. Shuffle the rest of the set-aside Dreadpool encounter set into the encounter deck. Remove this card from the game. So this just goes... Let me check this one more time. When you play with this, copy of Crisis Infinite Deadpools is shuffled in. So it's kind of like the additional Shadows of the Past, but specifically for the Deadpool things. Okay, that makes sense. So you're just shuffling this card in, but then when you reveal it, it brings in the rest of the encounter set. Okay, so it's just another Shadows of the Past, which is kind of awesome. I enjoy that encounter set a lot. I like it when the unique and Nemesis is coming in as well as the unique side scheme. I think it makes for way more interesting scenarios. And the standard 2 expert too, I love that there's cards that just straight up bring out your Nemesis minion. So cool. I love that. All right, let's see what they do. Dreadpool, minion, 2 scheme, 2 attack, 3 health, assassin elite. Dreadpool engages the first player, so it's everybody's problem if you decide to play with it. And then when defeated, deal Dreadpool to the player who defeated him as a face-down encounter card. Oh my gosh. So Dreadpool is never going to leave you alone as soon as he gets revealed. That's terrifying. So you're going to have a static 2/2/3. This is bad that it's got 3 boost icons. Oh man, that's annoying. That's very Deadpool, very annoying. I think it's pretty dang good. Let's see if this is worth playing the encounter set. I think so, probably. Seeing as you're rushing the end game by just getting all the icons and getting this ridiculous value, I don't think this is actually going to be a problem if you are actually playing with the Deadpool encounter, the Deadpool aspect. So this is kind of awesome. Okay, I can see why they did this. It is another timer for you that you need to juggle. Next up is the side scheme of Dreadful Deeds. This is the one that does get spawned right away. It's a 2 scheme. Dreadpool believes the only way to end his suffering is to kill every being in all of the multiverse. When revealed, place 2 threat here for each player who controls 1 or more pink cards, pool cards. And it's just +1 boost icon. I think this is actually a pretty tame one. I think this is going to give you, and it's got to be just control. So it doesn't mean that they're in your deck. It means that you actually have them on the board. But seeing as the allies are pretty great, and the upgrades are also pretty dang good, you're probably going to have at least 1 player with the pink cards. How many of each are you getting? Are we getting full play sets? Is this like the boxed? Are we going to have to buy multiple pool packs to get all of the pink cards? So far, I like this a lot. I think it's super fun. Next up is Anti-Regeneration Ray, attached to the Dreadpool, otherwise attached to the villain. Force interrupt. When attached character attacks a non-villain character, treat the attacked character text box as if it were blank, except for traits until the end of the attack. As a hero action, you can spend all these resources and attach this card to your identity. That's so fun. There's a little mini game inside of the encounter set where you can find the Anti-Regeneration Ray, get it yourself, and then attack the Dreadpool with it, negating his effect and actually getting rid of him. This is awesome because it works on, it's a non-villain character, so it doesn't work on the actual villain, so you'll never be able to turn it off and sort of ruin the scenario, but you can deal with any difficult to beat minions. This is going to help you get rid of pretty much everything, which I think is awesome. This card is so fun. And I like that the hero action isn't necessarily just discard. So if you use cards like, I guess it wouldn't work because you're playing the pool class, but if you play things like Sunfire that activate the hero, oh no, it doesn't activate, it discards it. So this is when you actually want to make sure that you're using the hero action to trigger force. You can actually get the effect. This is a cool card. I like this one a lot. Next up is our last card. This is Pool-Ized. Attachment. Treat attached ally as a pool minion with a blank text box. Attached minion's scheme is equal to its printed thwart, and it does not take consequential damage. When revealed, attach the ally with the highest cost without Pool-Ized attached. Otherwise, this card gains Surge. So you see this a lot with several of the encounter sets like Shadow King or... now it's totally blanking my mind, but there are several. Enchantress. Enchantress also has this, taking your allies, turning them against you, and then you just have to deal with them. If you have a way to get rid of attachments, you can, and that means that they're going to be able to come back to you. Otherwise, just another person you got to roll through to win that scenario. Oh my gosh. All right. So Crisis of Infinite Deadpools. And then it looks like we have a peek at the organized play kit, getting some bonus acceleration icons. Cool. I really like the last one that we got. So we'll see if we can get a copy of that. There you have it. Deadpool's officially in the game. Whether you take the Merc with the Mouse Wacky cards for a spin or try just the new pool aspect, this is a must-have. Yeah, this is kind of amazing. So I think that this is probably one of the coolest encounter sets to come out. So I think the best hero pack ever is totally warranted. And looking at my favorite cards, ooh, okay. So first impressions, I think that my favorite aspect card. Ooh, my favorite aspect card is going to be. Does that count? Is it 200? Ignore these zeros. Okay, I was going to say, wow, that's really good. We never actually looked at Deadpool's effect. I don't see how we missed this. Oh, because it was number 1. Okay, my bad. So we should probably look at what Deadpool does. So one last card. Deadpool, that's more like it. 2 thwart, 2 attack, 1 defense. Ignore the zeros. Okay, so it's just those. And then Deadpool Corpse, X-Force, hand size 5, hit points 9. Okay. The Regenerating Degenerate. Force interrupt. When you would be defeated, instead set your hit point dial to 1, change alter ego form, and add an acceleration token to the main scheme. Oh my gosh. This changes everything because it doesn't matter. You can do whatever you want. You can pay all your health all the time. You can die on purpose just to automatically flip the alter ego form and then switch right back. This is crazy. Okay, this character became even better than I imagined. Holy cow. So you can just do whatever you want all the time because you want acceleration icons. It will kill you at a certain point, but seeing as you just don't have to care about hit points, wow. Set it to 0. So it does set it to 1. So you will probably want to heal back. So you want to play cards that probably ready you. It actually doesn't matter because your alter ego effect allows you to search for the damage dealing cards immediately. So you can pretty much always guarantee you get damage. This is awesome. And you can just keep your health pool super low, or you can do that thing where you're bouncing back and forth. You're using yourself as a healer if you don't want to do the acceleration thing for everybody. So you can throw yourself in front of damage. This is so powerful. Holy cow. Okay, so wow. Okay. Oh, that's amazing. This just makes every single card better, every single thing in the toolkit. It makes the 8 recovery make way more sense because you have a pretty much guarantee of getting max value on it every time. You never have to forcefully search until you actually die. It is optional to fully heal. You can immediately ramp up the game to the point where there are a bunch of acceleration tokens and you're pushing yourself in the end game whenever you want. This is awesome. Okay, this is super, super interesting. Just looking at that, I'm pretty psyched about just Deadpool themselves. I think that card is super powerful. Yeah, I think Deadpool might actually. I don't know if it's just because I saw him last, but that effect is just so interesting. If it's not so this card would definitely be my most anticipated hero card. I think that's definitely going to just Deadpool. This is crazy cool. Lots of options, and just this opens up everything. Every single card, so many different play strategies. That is so cool. If it were to be a specific card that is not the hero card, I think I would give it to the Arm to the Teeth. I think that's super fun. The fact that you can go cross class and then you can make specific things work with Deadpool. I think that's super interesting. And then there were no neutral cards, so we're not going to do any most anticipated neutral cards, but definitely Deadpool himself. And then Arm to the Teeth sounds super interesting. I want to know how that works with getting additional weapons. And then do they come in with the charge counters? Do they reset? I want to know what that looks like. I imagine they don't reset because then you just kind of go infinite. It is a little expensive though to do that, but I guess you're paying the 2 and it just puts the card into play. So you're not even paying the cost for the card that you're subbing in. So I guess I think that makes sense that it doesn't keep on resetting its values. So it doesn't get its bullets back every time that you switch them back out. So that's my most anticipated hero card, Arm to the Teeth, as well as just definitely just the standard Deadpool. And then most anticipated card for the aspect. So looking at all of the different pool aspect cards, I think I gotta say Live Dangerously. It makes the other Deadpool cards work well. It's going to trigger all of the other abilities in the set. It helps out everybody on the team, but it also has a specific timer. Like you can't just leave this out there forever because it will kill you. So I think that's super fun. And it also has the victory condition. So you have to be pretty careful when you do decide to play this because you only get 2 shots at it. I do like this concept though, that you can put 2 of these out there at the same time. Oh no, you can't. Oh, you can only play one in your deck. No, it's got the little star on it. Oh, that's so sad. So I guess you could have multiple players playing this card, playing Live Dangerously. So that's kind of fun. You could have a bunch of people play this, and then once one is defeated, have the other person play theirs, because it's just you can only have one in your deck, but you can have multiple on the board. I think this is my favorite one. It turns on all your stuff, but it has that built-in timer. The art is hilarious. Nothing can cause me pain, not even an oncoming train. This is excellent, and it's going to make the other cards even stronger. I think a close second for the aspect card is I Got This. Just so much value in one card. It's a thing that you really don't even have to set up, because a lot of the scenarios are just going to throw those icons out there for you. And it's super cool to get rewarded for being in punishing situations. And this is pretty funny because it also works. It's just cards in play, so it can even be your cards. So it works with the Archangel. Archangel is going to have that acceleration icon on them. It works with the symbiote suit, which will guarantee you the extra draw. And so you can decide how much of your team is going to lean into the pool aspect. So I think this is cool that it works for the X-Force, the X-Men, and just for whatever scenario you're playing for in general. So I think this card is also amazing. So that is the most anticipated card for the aspect. That is I Got This. But of course, we cannot forget about the Live Dangerously as well. And then lastly, we have our most anticipated encounter card. And I think that my favorite is probably just going to be the standard one, that if you decide to play with the pool aspect, and I don't remember the name, there it is, Crisis of Infinite Deadpools. I like this concept. I love the Shadows of the Past card. It's one of my favorite encounter cards. The fact that you have to deal with this thing that is from your specific background. Crisis of Infinite Deadpools is going to make it so that if you are engaging with Deadpool, you also have to deal with the not so great side of the Deadpool universe. And it does basically the exact same thing, bringing out the Deadpool encounter set as well as the side scheme. I think that's awesome. So dreadful deeds as well as the Dreadpool minion, you're going to have to deal with them if you engage with the Dreadpool, and then it'll change what's going on as well because of the new cards that get shuffled in the encounter deck. A lot of fun. Yes, so this has got to be Crisis of Infinite Deadpools for the most anticipated card for the encounter set. And that's it. That is the Deadpool encounter set. If you have any thoughts or opinions about this hero pack, let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to just discuss or talk. We can talk now or afterwards. I'll leave the stream up for a little bit if you want to discuss. But overall, I'm looking forward to this. Any game play that's aside from just the standard hero pack is something that's interesting and exciting. We saw this with the Mojo set where you got all of the different encounter sets plus that mini campaign. So that's super fun. And then this one adds a brand new aspect, which is going to allow you to just try it with all sorts of different heroes and see which one it works best on. Looking forward to it in general. And right off the bat, I think that I want to try it for sure in Kitty Pryde, just because of how much damage that she can juggle and ignore, even with all of these icons. I think that'll be fun with Colossus being able to switch into alter ego as much as you can. I think that it will be fun in Deadpool. Deadpool seems like he crazy takes advantage of it. And I think it would also be pretty good in Wolverine. Would be kind of insane getting the double healing factor, which sounds awesome. And then you can also play the busted attack cards in that set for free. I just want to know what the entire pool aspect set looks like, because they did say that Deadpool comes with the aspect in his deck, plus there are extra cards outside of his deck that's going to have the pool aspect. So looking forward to seeing all of the aspect cards for Deadpool. What an awesome idea. And let's hope that we see more of this like that in the future. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate your time here. And yeah, thanks so much. Side game strong, y'all.